I'm Mel.
And I'm Mark.
And this is the Cerebral Sports Podcast. On the Cerebral Sports Podcast, we champion the mental development, wellness, and health of athletes, big, small, professional, and amateur.
Week to week, we'll have compelling conversations with athletes, coaches, parents, and mental health professionals to discuss their experiences and point of views as we work to bring awareness to the most vital muscle in an athlete's body, the mind.
All right, we're back here with another great episode on the Cerebral Sports Podcast. Today we have a very, very special guest here, a dear friend of mine, someone that I would say I can't say we started our coaching career together, but as far as the tenure of a head coach, I would definitely say I started it with him. He's a former LIU standout, played tight end at LIU, graduated with the record, I believe, in receptions. A very, very smart, intellectual person, had several accomplishments in the classroom as well. Started off his coaching career at Nassau Community College as the wide receivers coach, and then quickly once I became a part of the staff, my offensive coordinator, my strength and conditioning coach, my freaking liaison when it came to academic studies, was a very big pillar to the career that I'm still underway with. As all great things and all great people, had a tenure that was phenomenal. Bowl game win, another bowl game appearance, close games that we probably should have won, but under his guidance on the offense was able to really make it a desirable game to watch. Quickly went on to FIU as a grad assistant, and within a year became the running backs coach, making some good money. Can I borrow a dollar? Unfortunately, the way of the coaching profession goes, was let go, as the whole staff was, and is now currently the GA assistant as a wide receiver coach at Temple University. A Brooklyn native, and if you talk to anybody from Brooklyn, they let you know that they're from Brooklyn. Without no further ado, Mr. Sean Binckes is a part of our program, and I'm very excited to start this conversation.
Appreciate you guys having me. Quite the intro by Jamel Ramsey right there. No. And yes, everyone from Brooklyn has to let you know we're from Brooklyn, because then people start the whole, you're from Long Island, everything's on Long Island. No. Brooklyn, Long Island, we're two different things. All right, so everyone just has to make sure we have that clarified.
And what part of Brooklyn are you from, Sean?
Technically, it's Gerritsen Beach, right next to Sheepshead Bay, Marine Park, like South Brooklyn.
Okay.
Yep.
That's deep.
It's either they tell you it's from Brooklyn or they got the best pizza, so it's one of the two.
That's no question. That's no question. Best everything comes from Brooklyn.
Man, don't get this man started with the stuff. I ain't got that.
For the listeners, I'm probably going to refer to Sean as Binckes, because that's just what I know him as. So if you hear Binckes, just know that I'm referring to him. Binckes, before we get into it, before we start to tally off these things, is there anything within that introduction that I missed that you want to let the listeners know about you?
No, I was happy you hit on the strength and conditioning coach part. That was one of my favorite parts being at Nassau, so it was a good time.
And it's definitely something that we cherish and we honor. So we're going to start this thing off. I got one question I want to just break the ice with, man. I know just from the intro, you started your coaching career relatively young. All right, you're now continuously moving through the chains of different programs and the grad assistantship. Why do you coach? What made you coach? And where does your desire come from?
So really where I start with this, I didn't plan on coaching. And it's funny how a lot of people say that. I had no desire to coach. I was going to get into physical therapy if I didn't make the league. That was all, I wanted to play football as long as I could, and then be around sports and football as long as I can. So I didn't know what that looked like, but I always said that. And now when I look back, I'm like, wow, I'm still involved now. But what happened was, after playing and training, and obviously you guys had Coach Gill on, and going through the process of trying to get a tryout and get into camp and this and that, nothing happened. And I had the opportunity. My friend Mike Seleni, who's now the graduate assistant at Ohio State, he had reached out to me. He took a job at Nassau as the offensive line coach and said they were looking for a receiver and strength coach. I'm like, I really don't have any desire to do this, but I'm trying to stay around football, keep training, hoping I get a call. I go and do it. from that moment on, it's the best thing I ever did. Like, I realized the reason I coach, and a lot of it comes from Coach Gill, and like seeing somebody that dedicates so much time to you for all the right reasons. Like, he didn't care about winning, he didn't care about losing, he just wanted you to become the best you can be. So then I get into it, I'm like, I have no idea how to do this. So basically, I'm going to do this like I knew Coach Gill did it. So I turned, a lot of people would call me like a mini Coach Gill at the time, and I just went to work. I got to do the strength and conditioning. I'm sitting there right away, like, these kids are basically my age. How do I get them to buy into me? So I start doing everything with them. If I gave them 100 up downs, we did 100 up downs. Like, I did it included. Any coach that was there that was doing the strength and conditioning with me, including Mike, they did it with me. If we had to run and we had to do whatever, bear crawls, plate pushes, like, I just kept going. Like, these guys are going to know and respect me by seeing that they're never going to outwork me. And they're going to understand what that mentality and what truly pushing yourself and truly really just digging deep to do this thing and pull the best out of you, what that is. So the only way I knew how to do that is show them. So I start doing that. All of a sudden, I'm just immersed in it. I mean, my whole life, every day I was at Nassau doing something. I really didn't have much going on. Obviously, I worked at your gym, did some training, was able to eventually get a job at Nassau, and that kind of helped monetarily. But the reason that I realized I started to do it is like the impact that I had and the game had on me. I knew that I didn't know exactly how, but I knew that I could give that to somebody else. I knew I could show them that, like, there's way more. If all you're in this game for is just winning and losing and trying to make this big check, like, everyone says that, but no one really lives that. And I knew I lived that because I was shown how to live that. So to me, like, I feel like I don't want to say I'm some like rare thing out there, but I think a lot of people that do this don't do it for those reasons. And I wasn't going to allow that to happen. So I'm in it. I have so many kids like that. I'm in contact with so many kids that I've coached since the very beginning that just every now and then hit me up out of nowhere. Like, hey, coach, I just appreciate you. Like, what you did in that moment, what you told me then, I didn't get it then, but I get it now. And like those things are just, it's good to see, because now that person is going to help somebody else. And now you start that chain of doing things the way it's supposed to be done instead of doing it the other way.
That's that's amazing. I don't know you from today. We might have crossed paths before. I'm not sure, but I can't say that I know you. I've heard your name before. I've heard Coach Gill say your name before, like Jamel, like overhearing, and they refer to you as Binckes. And as Jamel read your profile, and as I read the profile myself, your bio, and I'm reading, I was like, this sounds like Coach Gill. I didn't know the relationship that you and Coach Gill have, right? And the energy that you give off, it's definitely Coach Gill-like. So I would say that your coach, you come from the Coach Gill coaching tree. Not even, he does have a tree. Kind of crazy that Coach Gill has a coaching tree. It's his tree, and no disrespect to the coaches that Coach Gill worked for. The Coach Gill tree is cut from a different cloth, so no one else can take credit for that. It's a Coach Gill coaching tree, and Absolutely. you have the DNA of it. And you mentioned the cloth, right? The special cloth that you're different. You know, you are different, and I can see it. And again, I don't know you before today. You're jumping off the screen as someone who was so genuine, and you care about the players, and your why is really what cerebral sports is trying to unearth and uncover in the people that we want to find and like pollinate to the rest of like people who lead athletic sports or youth athletic sports, is that kind of temperament that changes lives. Like, and it doesn't take too much of a person to give what you're giving, right? But it takes a lot to give it consistently and really to be that genuinely. So shout out to you, because I could definitely feel the energy, and I could tell, you know, what it is. One of my questions is, at what point during the coaching at Nassau, or even after, did you say, all right, I'm good with this, opposed to chasing that playing dream? At what point did that take place? And like, when did it hit you? When did you realize, like, I'm at peace with this?
Yeah, that's a good question. It definitely took a sec, because even like I said, when I first started coaching, even going through that year, I'm like, I'm not doing this forever. Like, I'm just not. But I had a talk. So I trained with a guy since I was a sophomore in high school. He played for the Ravens. He's a Long Island guy, Donnie Brady. He works right out of Lynbrook now, and he was with the Ravens, went to Wisconsin. He was a Nassau guy, which is pretty funny. He played for John Anselmo. And I went and had a talk with him because he was one of the first people that I really trained with before I got to college and doing all that. And I was just like, how do you look at this as I'm not quitting? And I think that's like the most powerful thing to try to get to people is how do I look at it like I'm not quitting this? And we just had a really good talk, like a life talk. And he kind of just, he's like, what, like you're not quitting anything because you already did everything that you did. And now what you're trying to do is extra. And it's really, it's not there. Like it's not there for you, but how can you turn this into something else? And like just having people like that, like Donnie, people like Coach Gill, like having those conversations every day. I don't know if it ever put me at, like every now and then I'm still out. I mean, every now and then I hit some of my guys. Jamel knows this pregame. I always headbutt somebody, even though they have their helmet on. I gotta let them know that if I need to put these things on again, we can get it going. But it definitely, there's been a lot of humbling things throughout this whole coaching experience so far that I wouldn't take back for anything. But yeah, that's pretty much just through conversations with people that have already been through it.
Yeah, tight ends are crazy, man. In my experience, we had a tight end back when we played Mike Moran. He used to throw up before every game. Tight ends are nuts. You over there headbutting dudes with no helmet on. So I know you probably still get that itch. And I'm stamping you certified right now as based on your resume right now, your age. Like I did quick math. You're still in your 20s, if I'm not mistaken. I did quick math. You're still in your 20s. I'm stamping you certified. Not that means anything, but it means something to me. You are going to be coaching on the biggest stage, and you're going to have the pick of the litter as far as jobs are concerned. So that monetary thing is going to come. It's going to come organically for you. It's going to happen because I can already see like the energy, the resume. One question I do have for you: do you ever still scratch that itch of playing? Do you do anything around playing still?
It's funny. I guess I do. When I train, I still wake up early. I'll still go push plates. That part of me, like I train as if I'm going to play. Now, during the season right now, not as much. Now I'm starting to feel like that. Am I turning into a little bit of an old man with this? And now once it ends, I got to turn this thing up again. But no, I mean, I really would. I would love to just throw them on to practice with a team and just, I feel like I can bring out some things in people, but
Giants can use a tight end right now, man. We lost ours, so. But I'll turn it back over to Mel. I got a little excited, man. I just love the energy, man, and your story is amazing. And you're gonna help and change so many lives, man. So salute to you.
Well, that's part of the things that we did so well together here at Nassau. And like I said, when he left, it was one of the things that we still feel, the loss.
There's a gap there, yeah, for sure.
And when I first took the Nassau job, like he said, he was working at our gym, and he came to me. He was like, "Yeah, I think you should apply for it." I was like, "I'm good. I'm just gonna stay at post. I'm gonna chill. I don't want to take that on." And then I had a long conversation with Coach Gill, who we also had on before, and he was saying like, I think it'll be a good fit for you because Binckes will take care of this. Saul's gonna take care of that. You just got to do what you do, and you guys will be in a real good shape. And as I got closer to Binckes and I kind of understood more of the way he was as a coach, and as I said last show, there are two different kind of coaches, right? Transformative and transactional, right? I realized that he wasn't doing it for the transaction. He was really doing it for the same reasons why I do it, which is more or less try to transform these athletes. But not only did he transform the athlete, he also transformed me as a coach, right? Every day, him and Saul, they would call me religiously, annoyingly. They call ourselves a tripod. Hey, what we got today? We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to do this. What about that? What about, because they were so, even he's young now, but think about 4 or 5 years younger with all this energy and the energy that he's talking about right now where he's tired, bro. That's how I felt when you was on my trying to get me going. But the care that he has for the athlete is really what I really wanted to talk to you about, Binckes, right? As Marlon said, the Cerebral Sports Podcast, we're really concerned with like the mental half and the mental side. And I remember many times we would have conversations about athletes and players that were going through all types of struggles. And one of the things that you would always tell me, like, no one really cares. People may say they care, but no one really cares. Like, toughen up, push through it. And I know that definitely has merit, but I always knew in the back of my mind, every time you would say it, I'd be like laughing. I'm like, but you care, right? So let's how are we showing these young athletes that you care? And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. Like, I know what you did when you were here, but what goes on at the higher levels, at the FIUs, at the Temples, you know, for the kids that really do struggle with everything outside of football? What do you guys do to help them?
Yeah, it's been kind of cool to see, and I guess it's something I wasn't used to, but like that the aspect of mental health, and you kind of brought it into Nassau as we started doing some just like different sports psychology exercises, team building stuff. But what's what's available to these guys now is something that is just like it's a foreign thought at one point. Like every week we have our sports psychology department pretty much come in and speak with the guys. And if you need extra time, we have an app at Temple where they can go on, and whether it's calming music about like for study habits, whether it's to get you to go to sleep, if it's you need to talk to someone, like the support system just grows the higher you go. And it's impressive to see, because you're touching on stuff that at one point, and I mean, I'm a culprit of it. Like, you always talk about just toughen up. Like, no one wants to hear, like you're saying, like, you need to be tougher. You need to do this. But there comes a point where there's certain things that you even see guys that are labeled those tough guys, those strong guys, and they're a little off. And you're trying to understand where is their mind right now. And I think it's so much more acceptable through, and definitely you see it at this level, for people to talk about that and just open up to, you know what, like, I'm not myself. I can't be myself right now. I need to get some help. I need to talk to somebody. I need to step away maybe for a little bit. And we just do a good job with that availability. And then our head coach and just all our coaches do a good job of allowing these guys, like when you talk about an open door policy, that is what goes on 100% here. So people come in, like, the conversations that go on, I don't get to hear them, but I know for a fact there's some strong conversations that go on that a lot of people, when they played, would not have felt comfortable going into a coach's office to have. So I think it's just the whole society and culture right now is they're opening up to that.
Gotcha. And do you see that is it a benefit for athletes? Do you see, like, in all fairness, do you see like the game or the toughness of the game kind of improving, or is it like getting a little bit like what they would label as soft? What's your true thoughts on that?
So that's a good question. So I would never say, I don't think that is what could make things quote unquote soft, right? I think that there's some kids nowadays and some people that don't understand that part of this game, and they're doing a great job making the game safer. Their equipment, rules, this and that. But at the heart of this football game, like, whether you want to believe it or not, is violence. Like there's two people are going to run into each other at full speed every single play for as many plays as it takes till that game is over. So it takes a certain type of person, as you all of us know, to do that and continuously do that. And I don't want to say there's just some people, I think, that the way the game is adapting and evolving, some guys have never been through that at the fullest point, so they don't even know what we're talking about. So it's more of a understanding. Like, there's still guys out there flying around, laying people out, like getting all hype, everyone getting crazy. That's still, the game is the same. There's some rules to change some things and maybe make it safer, but to say it's getting softer, like, that's just not at the heart of this. You're going to have to just change the whole game and play flag football if that's the case, because, like, that's not what this game is built on.
Shout out to flag football, man.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I love it so much. But would you say, so to your point, would you say there are probably less violent or players who are less inclined or less in tune with the level of violence that the sport takes to be successful or to, keep that pace up? Do you think that that's changing as time goes on?
I wouldn't say, I wouldn't say that fully, but okay. I would just say that there's a lot to this game, and at the heart of it is physicality. So everyone can be fast, everyone can do all these things. You could be Tyreek Hill running 4.3 past everybody, but there's going to come a moment where that physicality is going to come out, and you're either going to blink or you're not. So
Yeah.
that's just what it is.
I definitely think that as time goes on and the sport evolves, there are more players now that are continuing to play and have careers that perhaps would not have had that opportunity, say 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, 4 decades ago, because of the change in the rules and, being player safety being more acceptable and players protecting themselves. Like there's a receiver, is it Doug Baldwin or the other receiver on the Seahawks? His name escapes me. No, not DK. The slim one. It's not, I don't think that's not Doug Baldwin. Doug Baldwin don't play no more, I don't believe. His name escapes me. They just played this past weekend, but Lockett. Yeah. So he gets down after every catch, like what Marvin Harrison used to do, like times 2. Like, I mean, he doesn't care about yards after the catch. He is immediately getting down. Like, there's no yak for that guy. So it's funny to see. But, you mentioned the open door policy at Temple. Did you have a coach or anyone in your football career that you felt safe and comfortable open up with, or that you leveraged for, like, mental health help or just venting and just kind of like, being vulnerable with? Did you have that?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about, Coach Gill is the person that, like, we've been forming this relationship. He would hate for me to say friendship, but we've been forming this
coachship. We call it coachship.
Hey, you still calling him Coach Gill?
Like I always call him. That's one thing. Anyone that if I ever had you as a coach, I call you coach no matter what. People tell me, my high school coach tells me to call him by his first name. I'm just not. It's just a respect factor that.
Absolutely. Hey, Coach Gill won't let us call him. If I called him Johnny, he'd turn around and look at me crazy.
He tried to give you some up down still. But he was the one that I could go, like, I was just always with him. So he's the guy that you saw do the thing. Like, he would literally go on the field and be like, oh, really? You think I still can't do this? And then go do it. So, like, there was nothing you could say anymore. There is no excuse. You can't say, I'd like to see you do it. So it was always just easy to, it's funny because he's probably the toughest guy that you've been around, and you feel like you can't go talk to that guy. You can't show any vulnerability, but like I said, some people are just special that they could do both. I don't know, but
I agree. I agree 100%. And I wasn't sure if you were going to say him, so I wasn't setting you up for that. But when I think back on it, Coach Gill is you're soft. But if you're going through something, like, his whole tone changes, like a 180. He's like a chameleon. Like, he totally will adjust to whatever it is you're going through, and he'll talk to you. He'll help you, put his arm around you, and I'm like, well, what do you think about? And he always has some kind of idea or solution. So I work in my bucket. He always does, right?
The guy that always makes everything seem simple. It's just like a.
Oh my God! No. Honestly speaking, no, he really does. Like, he's so calm about it, so solutions oriented. He really does make things seem like, all right, well, we'll figure it out. It was just like, you're there stressed, and he's calm. You know what I mean? He's calm. And one other thing, you said that Andrew Jackson said the same thing on the show, man. Andrew Jackson said he had no desire to coach.
And Coach Gill said it too.
He had no desire. That's amazing, man. That is absolutely amazing. That might be the way to find some of the best coaches who never had a desire to coach, and it just kind of happened organically. Man, it has to be something said to that or said for that, where people who just organically get into coaching or stumble upon it and grow a love for it to turn it into a career. Because I mean, at the root, coaching, you're not making bank coaching early on. So it's not like, oh, I'm in this for the money, and it's not a guarantee that you'll get like a huge, like, you got to move around, you got to do a lot. For sure. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that's something to be said for that.
Hey, now, speaking of the coaching, so Binckes, the question I have for you is, what now with the new generation of kid, way different than when you played, way different from when I played. What is the greatest challenge as a coach when it comes to connecting to these kids? What are some of the things that you see at your level that, even at the JUCO level, and just go all the way up from JUCO to where you are now? What are some of the challenges that you see when it comes to connecting to the young athletes?
Sure. When I started I kind of want to start this with FIU and Temple. Like, both times starting in a GA role, like, I already know what it is. So I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to sit back and I just observe, like, trying to see everything. Some people wondering, they might listen to this and be like, damn, I didn't know this guy talked this much at all. Like, I feel like there was just an understanding of what my role is. But I guess relating to me, I don't want to say it comes easy, but if you're real with people, like you don't need to put on a show. Like I don't need to be out here screaming all day for people to think I'm coaching them and trying to get them better. Like that's not what it is. So to relate to guys, I told you when I started at Nassau, what did I do? I'm the same age as them. They probably think I don't know anything. Well, I'm making them do this stuff. I'm going to do it with them. Like, I'm going to show them why this and this. I'm going to put in the time. Like, just put in the time with these guys who are truly trying to get better. And all they want is somebody to help them. So when you do that, then I go to FIU. I'm like, now I live in Miami. I've been my whole life in Brooklyn, New York. I'm in Miami, Florida. I mean, whole different culture, whole different type of kid. I'm learning different slang words. I never heard of them. What is going on? Like, again, I grew up in Brooklyn. I'm not like, I don't not know nothing, but I'm like, what? I don't even know what half these words mean. So you start trying to figure that out, and you just talk to guys. Like, how do you really get to learn these guys and build that relationship is to put in time outside of just football. Like I'll go sit in there right after practice is my time where I got to put in the data and everything. And then I go grab lunch and I'll just sit with a different guy that's sitting in there and just talk to him about anything. And you learn so much about guys. And I think that goes a long way with them. You just get real with them. You can't put on a full show and then not open up. So it's more of that. Just be straight up with people.
That's profound. That is profound. Yo, write that one down, Mel. That's good. You can't put on a whole show.
I work with my man for a long time, man. So
that's profound.
There's a lot of stuff that he's speaking to the podcast and to the people out there. You know, I was fortunate enough to be around for quite a few years. Same question I have for you now, right? So the different, and this can get a little spicy. So if you don't want to talk about it, let us know. You know, I can always hit the edit button. Relationship with these coaches, right?
Which coaches?
Coaches in general. And you don't have to talk about the ones that you're working with or worked with in the past, but just the coaching profession. Yep. What are some of the challenges you see when it comes to the type of coach that you are in relations to the ones that, you know, me speaking from my perspective, the ones that aren't really there for the kid or there for the athlete?
Yeah, You've heard me on a couple of rants before.
That's what
behind closed doors, but no,
I don't need a rant, but I'm just saying I want to talk to that as well, because that's also something for young coaches that are listening or young athletes that are listening to really get a full picture of the overall profession and the overall sport. Not every coach is the same. You know, not every coach has the same philosophies. Not every coach has the same ideas. You know, and when you come into contact with those that may be there for the money and maybe there for the transaction, how do you deal?
I think this game is a business, right? There's a lot of business to this. And unfortunately, there's a lot of guys that treat it like a business, and they treat it just like you're saying. And we've talked about so many times, is like, don't sit there and tell me that you care. See, I'm going to start getting all fired up here, but don't sit here that tell me that you care about this kid and then you just go home, or don't sit here and tell me you're trying to do everything. And so there's so many guys that I've seen, and not necessarily that I've worked with, but there's just things I've seen, stories I've heard that it's just, there's a lot of fraudulence that goes on in terms of truly caring about these kids. Because if you truly care about these kids, there's a ton of sacrifice that goes into it. So am I willing to sacrifice time with my family, with my kids, to truly treat these guys like they are your kids, my little brothers, like whatever it is? So when you see that, does it get me angry? For sure. Do you see people sometimes that get jobs and you're like that guy's just full of it? It's going to happen. There's good and bad in every single thing that you're going to do. So the only way you combat that, in my opinion, is the way that, like, we're sitting here now, we're having a conversation, and hopefully somebody hears it. Hopefully one of the kids that I've coached that can move on and coach, and they keep preaching that message. Just like we talk about Coach Gill coach me, right? Now I'm coaching. He coach you, you're coach. Like, you got everyone just spreading that type of message. And it's, unfortunately, there's always going to be people that are greedy. There's going to be people that are in it for the wrong reason. There's people that are just trying to pretty much use kids which is why, like, when you talk about recruiting kids, if you tell them the honest truth, like I've recruited kids before, and I told them, listen, if you don't even want to come here, just call me at the end of the day and you tell me, I'm sorry, coach, I appreciate everything, but like, that's just not for me. In my opinion, that kid is being a man about it, right? Being an adult about it and making a mature decision. Like, if these are the reasons why, I'm not going to sit here and try to make some story up and try to do this and that to get you. If you truly don't want to be here, this ain't going to work out anyway. So it's like, kind of like the last question, like, if more people in this profession will just be real and not feel there's pressure in it, right? There's pressure to win. At the heart of it, there is. Like, to keep this job at the higher levels, there's pressure to win. Because some people don't care. All this stuff we're talking about, like I said, there's boosters, there's this, it's just not, they're not going to hear it. But can you stay true to what you're saying? You know what I mean? Like if you do get fired, can you still stay true to that philosophy, or are you going to flip and start being that guy? Because then you were just a phony all along. So what I'm going through this, I'm seeing people that, like, all right, that guy, like, I can work with that guy. That guy ain't for me. And it just is what it is. It's not like I'm not going to be cool with you. But, you know, it's just kind of part of the profession.
Yeah. And I think that's also something that the kids, the athletes, they feel. You know, they see it, they feel it. And I always feel like for us, especially here at this program, where we're a non-scholarship, where we don't have a whole lot to offer the young men, where we don't have meal plans, we don't have housing, you know, we don't have adequate things as far as like equipment when it comes to, you know, apparel and things like that. At the heart of what we do, and it really does stem from the stuff that we did here together, was that any kid that walks through these doors, they know Coach got them. You know what I'm saying? We're not just here to you know, try to level up or level out. We're really just here to try to see if we can make you better as a person first, and then as an athlete, obviously secondary.
And that's not to cut you off, but that one thing that I know, you know, I don't like talking about myself. This is not what I like to do. But when I was at Nassau, and like, I never think about where I'm going next, like, that is just not, when you have people like that, because I've heard it before where people are like, oh, I'm done with this place after this. I'm like, once again, okay, so now I add that back to, you're not actually here for these kids. Like, you're just like, what are you doing then?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's like a big belief to me, is just do everything you can where you're at. And there's going to come a time where you're going to have to move on. It's just, there's a time where this opportunity, and guess what? I'm not leaving those guys. I got some more guys ready to keep this thing going. Now I'm going somewhere else where maybe they don't have that. And I'm going to show those guys what I believe is the right way to do it. So that whole thinking about the next move is just, I don't subscribe to that.
Gotcha.
Salute, man. You mentioned recruiting, and you talked about the players in Florida. How different are the players at FIU than at Temple? Like, relatability, you know, just kind of like the vibe, the energy. How different has that experience been for you?
So at the heart of it, it's all like the same guys. You know what I mean? Like, it's kids, like, these guys listen to this music, talk this way. These guys listen to that, talk, but it's all like the same guy, the same jokes going on. Even when we were playing, like, in the locker room, it's all the same stuff.
On repeat.
And it really is, but it's funny to see, like, I still, again, like, there's guys that I worked with and I coached and, like, you talk to, and it's crazy how you form a relationship with people I might have never known those guys probably my whole life, but I coached there and I got to meet so many people and just see a whole different way of life. Are they all different? For sure. But it's not like those kids are better than these kids and this and that. I think it's all pretty equivalent, but there's definitely, I guess you'd say, like, culture, like regional culture, different. It's cool to see. Coming back here is more like being at home. But being there was a whole different thing. I'm telling you, at first, I was like, I don't know what is going on.
Night and day. You know, it's you know, when you say that a lot of it is similar, it just really pronounces and just kind of underscores more on how important coaching is. Because there's kids all over this country pocket. It's all pretty much the same kids. It's different talent levels, obviously, and some, you know, got some superstars. You got some got depth guys, you got, some guys that are okay, average, some guys that are below. But by and large, you still kids that need leadership, need guidance, need to be poured into. So it just underscores again how important coaching is and how much great and good coaching can get the most out of those particular kids. So it just kind of like punctuates that. What the other thing that I was going to ask you, so I was just in Philadelphia yesterday. It is absolutely, it was I was there for work. It was absurd. I mean, Phillies hats everywhere, Eagles stuff everywhere. Like, how you handling that being a New Yorker, man, seeing all that stuff around?
I thought it was going to get real. So I used to be the biggest Yankee fan growing up. Like, I'd come home, write down their stats. I mean, I was all on it. I kind of grew away. I just spent so much time in coaching, but the point came, I was about to become the biggest Yankee fan because if the Yankees and Phillies were about to leave, I was have to be on guard with everybody. I mean, it was this place to see, there's so many like narratives out there about Philly and this and that. Like the people here, what I would say about this place is the character. There is true character. Like you're in this city from the buildings, from the architecture, structure stuff, but from just the people. When you see these Phillies fans, like they said it registered as an earthquake the other day. I think it was game 3. Wow. Bryce Harper hit a home run, and it registered as an earthquake. Like, wow. I work with guys who are from here. Every day I hear about the birds, Eagles, the birds, the fighting. It's cool. It's a passionate city. Yeah. It's a cool place.
That's dope. Speaking of which, I had a client thing yesterday, and I was at the Four Seasons for lunch. And I saw A-Rod. A-Rod walks in. That was pretty cool because being a Yankee fan as well, it was pretty cool to see because he's doing a broadcast for Fox. So it was pretty cool to see him. He walked in with his girl and his T-Wolves apparel because he's a part owner of the T-Wolves and everything like that. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know me and A-Rod. I'm a Jeter guy. I know.
I think yeah.
I'm like, all right, if they're good, I'm good with them. But I don't know.
Yeah. Like a side. But Binckes, man, this is like I said, I'm really excited to have you and be able to, just spread the word of just what good coaching was about and what it is about. And also for the young athletes that have the honor of having you as their coach, man, just understand the levels of what you're receiving, right? So the messaging that I have for the guys that played for you in the past, which I know they're very much appreciative, but even for the ones that are currently underneath your tutelage, as a GA, I'm sure you don't have a whole lot of range, as far as what you can and can't do, but just being in your presence, my message to those guys is just listen, man, understand that this is a guy that's doing it right. I'm pretty, like Marlon said, I'm pretty positive that you ain't going to be where you are for too much longer.
He's certified.
I know that if you continue, you're going to continue to stay to who you are, but more or less, you're going to continue to evolve into the person that you're going to become, which is phenomenal. From Nassau, obviously we miss you. We wish you nothing but the best, man. We hope
miss you guys too.
We hope that you do. You and Saul both. We're going to get Saul on next.
Boy.
You and
good luck with that, man.
Yes, he's the wild card, but he's good. We wish you nothing but the best, man. My plan was to have you and Coach Gill's episodes kind of go back to back so they can kind of see the resemblance and see, like Marlon had alluded to earlier, the coaching tree. But when we drop this one, I think no matter what time or place it is, it's going to be registered as a really good podcast, a really good message, and it's going to be someone that does it the right way for the right reasons. So from me to you, man, I appreciate you. Obviously, I like turning on ESPN now, seeing you with your yellow shirt, doing your signals.
Hey, look, I know one day I'm gonna hear, I'm TV gonna be on, and I'm gonna hear, yeah, offensive coordinator Coach Sean Binckes. I'm gonna hear it, and whatever school that is, you're gonna get an email. I need tickets. I want to come to a game. Sure. It's amazing, man, because again, like GA, 28 years old, you got the relatability to the kids. You understand you're doing it for the right reasons. Sky's the limit, man.
We didn't talk about his X's and O's. I mean, he definitely.
I could only imagine.
Definitely got some smarts in that regard.
All that X's and O's stuff handles itself. That's the whole message. It handles itself.
It is. But the creativity that you have, it goes along with your demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Like you never.
What's more important, Mel? What's more important? The relatability and the foundation that you build with the kids,
relatability,
Oh, the X's and O's. Like,
I told you already. I don't. And Sean knows me. Like X's and O's. I don't really pay attention to that much. I really care about the kids and how they're doing. I care about.
Don't let Jamel fool you. It depends on how that offense is going that day. All of a sudden, he starts becoming John Madden.
Annexation of Puerto Rico. Run that.
Yo, the other day we were struggling, man. We couldn't get in the end zone. I'm like, bro, we don't have comeback. Can we run that? We got no trickery. I was actually trying to get him to do the Philly special in the red zone.
Yeah, we ran that a couple ways over there.
Run that play, man. We struggling, man. Throw shit to let a quarterback catch that thing and walk it in, man. But
you know what's funny about that play is you go to certain restaurants here and they have it like drawn or painted. And there's one, we go to this one place. It's a cool place. It's Bad Brother. Give him a little shout out here. It's a small two brothers, like hole in the wall place. But they have like a door and you go under the hatch to go down, like they go down there to get drinks and it's their storage. On the door, they lifted the other day and the Philly specials painted underneath it. I'm like,
unbelievable.
Unreal. That's crazy.
Go
ahead.
What is the best Philly cheesesteak out there? Have you taken your vote yet?
Yeah, so it's funny. The first time when I said I was coming here on Twitter or whatever, and I'm sure some people thought I was coming here as this coach and that coach. So people were actually reaching out to me on Twitter. Some local guys 60 days, best cheesesteak review. I'm like, holy cow, this place is going to be interesting. So I went to, I've probably been to 6 different places.
Wow.
I guess the bigger name places. And the place to me that was the best is Angelo's Pizzeria. It's the place that they did on Barstool with Dave Portnoy doing the one bite. So they have really good pizza. And the cheesesteak was phenomenal.
Okay.
And my problem with cheesesteaks is a lot of them are, I guess, dry. I need something to dip. I need something else. I gotta dip it in something. That place I was good. I mean, they make their own bread there, everything. So head over. I'm giving food recommendations on this.
Hey, I was gonna say for those that are listening still, every time we would be on the road, Binckes would have a list. You hear me?
Wow. Oh, he's a foodie. He's a foodie. Don't let him fool you. I respect it.
But the boy would come with a list, and this was on this show, and this was on that show. We got to go here, Mel. We got to go here. We got to check this one out. So whatever the heck he just said, Angelo's, that's the place. That's the place.
What's that?
Are you a guys, drivers, diners? What is it? Drivers,
dining?
Yeah, dives. Are you one of those guys? You got the list?
Triple D, man versus food, all of it.
Wow. Okay. I can't even say it right. My girl's always watching it.
That's what I look for, those places. So you go somewhere I might as well eat this. All of a sudden, we were in Tennessee at the convention a few years ago. We're eating
honey bun,
a 3-pound cinnamon
honey bun. Yeah, we cinnamon bun.
We gave it to more people that were coming in. We couldn't eat the whole thing.
We did it with Coach Gill. Like, Coach Gill, you gonna eat this? Sure.
I'm shocked.
He took a bite, gave a face like he's never eaten anything like this before.
He's outrageous, man. He's outrageous.
Peanut butter. Unreal.
Oh man.
But as always, Binckes, man, it was a pleasure. I appreciate you. All right. I wish you nothing but the best. Marlon, next week.
Yes, sir, man. Yo, Binckes, it's great to meet you, man. Continued success. Good luck with everything, man. And, we be watching and looking out for your growth and success, bro, for real.
Sure. Hit me up if you're ever in Philly.
Will do.